The poet is not talking about the present or the past. The poet is talking about the future. The poet says, "You're too very beautiful when you're young, but the same charm, same beautiful will not ever last when you're growing old." According to the speaker, what will the woman regret in her old age? So she had regretted that the speaker's true love. Hello everyone, I'm Babita Tamaya, lecturer, Department of English, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, the Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. In my previous revision class, I had revised the play A Sunny Morning. In my today's revision, I'll be revising the poem When You Are Old. So let's see what are we going to discuss in today's revision class. So I'll be discussing the synopsis, weightage of the poem, question and answers. So let's see the synopsis. When You're Old was written to express the writer's true and unforgettable love. The poet looks to the future. So here, the poet is not talking about the present or the past. The poet is talking about the future. The poet whom he loved, a woman whom he loved, she regrets in future that she had made a mistake by not agreeing him, that she just rejected his love. So he says, you'll regret when that is in future. A future in which the two people in the poem are destined to be forever apart. The poet imagines an unreal condition that a woman he loved became old and felt regret for refusing his true love. As I told, the poet is not speaking that is about the past, nor the present. He is speaking about the future. When she'll regret about the love that is in future. So the woman he loved was Madonna and she just rejected and she got married to a other person. The poet imagines his beloved in the future when she is an old and grey woman full of sleep, slowly read a book of memories from her youth. So the poet says that when you're too very old, when your hairs are gone grey, what you'll do when you're far asleep, full of sleep, you'll sit near the fire nodding your head. And who is going to accompany you? It is only my book. Whatever the poet had written in the book, only that book will accompany you when you're too very old. Not only your husband will accompany you during your time of old age, but it is only my book who will give you a company. Sitting near the fire, you'll start reading the book. She recalled her days of soft looks and sorrows as she changed. The glad grace expresses that when she is young and beautiful in her best moments of life, many will be interested in her, but their love for her will be superficial. The poet says, you're too very beautiful when you're young, but the same charm, same beautiful will not ever last when you're growing old. So what happens when you grow old? You can see the wrinkles, you can see the dark circles, you can see the body shrinks. So there are many men around you when you're too very beautiful and very charming. But once you grow old, you will never find those men behind you. The line, "Unloud the sorrows of your changing face," suggests that when she gets old, her face gets shrunk. So here, as I told, there will be many men around you. By looking into your physical beauty, they will come back of you. But it is totally different in me. I never loved your beauty. I loved your inner soul. So there are many sorrows in the world, but for me, you remains the same. When you're happy, when you're sorrow. But I'm the same. I'll be loving in the same way without any changes. I'll be there with you in your happy moments as well as your sad moments. So whoever the men are around you, their love may be true or false. I may not know, but my love remains the same when you're young as well as when you grow old. A contrast between glad grace and sorrow of your changing face would suggest that while others love her in happy times, but he will love her every time, including the worst ones. As I told, the other men would be along with you during your happy times, but it is only me who will be there with you during your sad times also. Pilgrim souls refers to the belief that every soul is a pilgrim. So he says it's a pilgrim soul. If you find a pilgrim soul, you can find only in me, who is in quest of love, who has fallen in love for your inner soul, not like other men. The word murmur suggests a whispers that shows that she has no passion or just left. The gradually diminishing of the love which may then loiter over mountains for a while and then disappear. Being on the mountains overhead suggests that love waited on a higher plane than that which she inhabited. So at last the poet says, so once you regret, when you're growing old, you sit near the fire, nodding your head, you start reading the book, then you'll regret, yes, I had just lost the love. I want him back in my life. You will never get me because I'll be hidden in the mountains. That is amid a crowd of stars. I don't want to show my face. I don't know what is the reason you rejected me, but I tried a lot. You never accepted. And in future, if you want me back in your life, I'm hidden among the crowd of stars. You will never get me. He concluded, visualizing that she is now bending down beside the dying fire and tells herself in a whisper, in a regretful tone, that her true love has fled amid and is hiding his face amid a crowd of stars. As I told, when you want me back in your life, you will never get me because my face is hidden among the mountain or amid of crowds. Because he just don't know why she rejected, why she did not accept his love. And at last, when she wants him, he will never get back to her. And the weightage of this poem is, you have 1 mark question, you have 4 mark questions. Sometimes they might ask for 6 marks also. Let's see the 1 mark questions from this poem. To whom is the poem when you're old addressed to? So it is addressed to a young lady with whom the speaker is deeply in love. Who is the poem when you're old addressed to? Addressed to young lady. What does the speaker want his beloved to do when she is old? Sit beside the fire and recall some memories of the past. What does the phrase full of sleep mean? Full of sleep means she is old, tired and going to die in future. What is meant by pilgrim soul? So it means a quest of true love. Whose true love it is? It is the poet's true love. Mention any one aspects that the speaker loved in his beloved. He loved her inner beauty and pilgrim soul. Where was the old woman sitting in the poem? She was sitting beside the fire, nodding her head. According to the speaker, what will the woman regret in her old age? So, she had regretted that the speaker's true love. Who, according to the speaker, in when you're old, will be nodding by the fire? It is his beloved Madonna. In when you're old, the one man loved the woman is moments of glad grace, the pilgrim soul, soft look. It is the pilgrim soul. Who is the pilgrim soul? That is the poet. Where, according to the speaker, in when you are old, did love hid his face? So it hid his face among the crowd of stars. Moving on to the 4 mark question. There are 3 questions. It might be asked in 3 different ways, but the answer remains the same. How is the transist nature of beauty has against preference of love brought out in when you are old? Or else, when you're old, makes the beloved look back on her youth? Discuss. How does the speaker contrast his love with that of many others in when you are old? So, this question can be asked in 3 different ways. In this poem, the poet asks his beloved to think forward a time when she would be old and grey. So, he is talking about future. When she is too very old, when she becomes old and her hairs are gone grey. She would no longer be beautiful. So when you grow old, you will be not so very beautiful as you were young. But a weak woman nodding by the fire, then he poet asked her to read his love poems sitting by the fire. Perhaps it is a book of poems that he has written for her. So what she is doing? When she is too very old, sitting near the fire, she takes out the book written by the poet and start reading the poem that the poet has written for her. The reading of those love poems forces her to remember her own youthful beauty and help her recall her former glories. It's a bittersweet moment for her. She could remember when she was beautiful. On the other hand, she knows her looks have faded. She would also remember the men who just loved her physical beauty. So sitting near the fire, she'll just recall her past memories that when she was too very young, she could find many men around her. But when she has grown old, she couldn't find such people. So most of the men have fallen in love for her physical beauty, but not for her inner soul. At last, she would remember the poet who loved her inner beauty. So who was it? It was the poet who loved her inner beauty rather than her physical beauty. He loved her pilgrim soul and ever-changing face of joys and sorrows. So ever-changing face in the sense, when she is young or when she grows old, however she is. But my love remains the same until my last breath. He even loved her as her looks had begun to fade. She would realize the poet's true love, but it would be too very late. But what happens here? She would have realized when she is realizing about the true love. When she is too very old, she just realizes, recalls her memories and says that I have lost my true love. By then, the love in the form of the poet would have left her. He would be one among the crowd of stars or pacing upon the mountains. Thus, the poem is about two young lovers imagining what life would be when they are old. So here, the two lovers, the poet and his beloved, just thinking about their future, what happens, how it would be. So she just recalls everything, and at last when she want the poet back in her life, he would never get her back because he has hidden his face among a crowd of stars. That's about the poem When You're Old. In my next revision class, I'll be revising the chapter 7, The Gardener. Have a good day. Thank you.